Time to talk sports matters on SEM TV. Stay with us.
Sensational, absolutely sensational, sensational, and stadium is rocked. The All Blacks press forward with a driving run. White 5 for 3, it's good. A huge shot. The puck drops in this gold medal game.
So, at least 10 countries have confirmed a place in the last 16 of the ongoing FIFA World Cup in USA, Mexico and Canada. The US of A, England and Belgium became the latest teams to book their spots at the next round of the tournament. And Spain and Austria will be in action later tonight. We'll get to see that at exactly 8 p.m. Nigerian time, 8 p.m. UK time as well. Of course, the Spanish side, La Roja, enter the FIFA World Cup round of 32 tie as clear favourites after topping Group H, unbeaten, keeping 3 clean sheets and conceding no goal whatsoever in the group stage. Portugal and Croatia is another game to look forward to in the early hours of Friday, 12 a.m. precisely Nigerian time. Of course, Portugal and Croatia, they meet in the round of 32 of the FIFA World Cup. Interestingly, with a place in the next round at stake, neither side has got no room for error, else, they'll be knocked out of the tournament. Switzerland and Algeria will play at around 4 a.m. Nigerian time. The Swiss side entered this knockout tie with slight favoritism after winning Group B with composure. Of course, they were also really disciplined and gave a good account of themselves for the most part of the group stages of the tournament. And they got some really outstanding players to look forward to tonight. Granit Xhaka, Manuel Akanji and Bril Embolo are some of those players. Meanwhile, young midfielder Yohan Manzambi has also emerged as one of the breakout players of the tournament this very summer. So the question is, who joins some of the teams already in the next round of the FIFA World Cup in USA, Mexico and Canada? Will the Swiss side crumble tonight? How about Portugal? Will they make it count? Well, on that note, I say welcome to Sports 360 right here on SEM TV, the World Cup edition of the show. I'm that name, the voice you trust and that mayor you probably need. They call me Rex Patrick the Locker, that homeboy that's never at home. I lock around 247-365. I'm your host and guide. So now let's get straight to it already as we look forward to the game coming up, the first game of the day. Not the day, but then the first game tonight. And that's an encounter between La Roja of Spain and, of course, Austria. 8 p.m. the time for that very encounter. It's an interesting one, I tell you for free. Spain enter the FIFA World Cup round of 32 tie as clear favourites after topping Group H. Unbeaten, they kept about 3 clean sheets and conceded no goal whatsoever in the group stage. Their patient possession game, midfield control and defensive organisation have made them one of the tournament's most convincing teams so far. Austria, meanwhile, finished second in Group J after a dramatic campaign that included a last gasp draw with Algeria to secure qualification. They are expected to rely on aggressive pressing, quick transition and of course, physical intensity, but then they've looked more vulnerable defensively than Spain. Of course, they go into this one on the right foot. Now let's look at some key matchups going into this one. Spain's possession and technical quality versus Austria's high energy pressing. If Spain can play through Austria's press, they should create sustained pressure and of course some really good chances. Austria's best route to an upset is forcing turnovers and capitalizing on counter-attacks or set pieces. Now, these are some players to watch going into the game tonight. For Spain, young star Lamine Yamal, creative midfielder Alex Baena, and of course, captain Rodrigo Hernandez Cascante are some of the players to watch going into the game tonight. For Austria, they got Marcel Sabitzer. He'll be central to their midfield, while Marko Arnautovic could provide the attacking threat if and only if he's fully fit for the game tonight. So, Spain are widely expected to advance to the next round of the tournament. Statistical models give them roughly a 70% chance of winning in regulation time, while Austria have got about a 12% chance, and the remainder, of it ending in, that's if it ends in 90 minutes. That if it's to end 90 minutes, the possible chance for Austria to nick this one is 12%. A possible chance for Spain to win this encounter is 70%. Of course, the remainder ending level after 90 minutes. And Spain are deserved favorites, but Austria are capable of making this a difficult knockout match. Now, let's talk about the predicted lineups. So, for Spain, they are expected to go with a 4-2-3-1 formation. And that's for La Roja, with goalkeeper Unai Simon in between the six. The right back would be Pedro Porro, hopefully. The centre backs are Robin Lemond and, of course, Pau Kubarasi. For the left back position, they got Alejandro Balde. Interesting times. Now for the central midfield position, of course, there's Rodrigo Hernandez Cascante. In the central midfield position is Pedri. The right wing for today or tonight's encounter would be Lamine Yamal. And for an attacking midfielder, we're looking at Alex Baena. The left winger would be Mikel Oyarzabal. And for the striker, hopefully, Ferran Torres. That's it for the Spanish side going into the encounter, the predicted lineup for the game tonight against Austria. Speaking of Austria, they are expected to have Patrick Pence in between the sticks. The right back would hopefully be Stefan Posch. The central defenders Kevin Danso and David Alaba. For the left back, Philip Mwene. Central midfield, Nicolas Seaward. Central midfield, Marcel Sabitzer. Right wing, Romano Skimit. The attacking midfield position will be Christoph Baumgartner. For the left wing, Patrick Wimmer. And the striker, Marko Arnautovic. A proven striker, not just by reputation, but by fact. Now let's talk about the tactical battle for Spain. Expect 65 to 70% ball possession. Patient build-up through Rodrigo Hernandez Cascante and, of course, Pedri, with Lamine Yamal stretching Austria, on 1v1 situations. For Austria, Rangnick's side will press aggressively for the most part of the game. They look to win the ball high and attack quickly through Sabitzer and, of course, that man talking about Baumgartner. These are some key duels to look forward to tonight. Rodri versus Sabitzer. If Sabitzer disrupts Spain's rhythm, then Austria's chances improve significantly. Players to watch: Lamine Yamal, Spain's biggest attacking threat, with his dribbling and creativity. Of course, that will be really vital in tonight's encounter. Pedri, he's another player to watch. He controls the tempo and creates chances between the lines. He's a key player going into tonight's encounter. Marcel Sabitzer of Austria is another player to watch. Of course, he happens to be Austria's leader in midfield and quite dangerous from chances. Oh, yeah, when it comes to creating big chances and big situations, he's quite deadly. Now, Marko Arnautovic is another player to watch. He happens to be Austria's focal point in attack and a major threat on set pieces. You know what? Spain are expected to control most of the game, but Austria's pressing could create a few dangerous moments going into the game tonight. So, my prediction, without taking side, is Spain 2, Austria 1. But hey, again, the game is not played on paper. It's about who wants it more. Lamine Yamal, I see him scoring or assisting tonight going into this very encounter. Austria will likely score from a transition or set piece. Player of the match will most likely be that man, Rodrigo Hernandez Cascante. Interesting times. Of course, Spain's superior midfield quality and depth should be enough to secure a place in the round of 16 of the tournament, where the winner will face either Portugal or Croatia. Speaking of Portugal and Croatia, let's tell you that they'll be in action later tonight. In fact, they play at exactly 12 a.m. Nigerian time. It's also the same time UK, in the UK. So while it's an interesting encounter, it feels like a semi-final tie already, or let's say a quarter-final match. But guess what? Portugal and Croatia, they go into this one. It's a round of 32 clash of the ongoing FIFA World Cup. It happens to be one of the standout fixtures of the 2026 FIFA World Cup knockout stage, round of 32 precisely. Of course, a place in the round of 16 is very much at stake. Neither side has got room for error. No error whatsoever is expected in tonight's encounter between these two teams. Portugal, recall, reached the knockout stage after finishing second in Group K. Their campaign has been inconsistent, drawing with DR Congo and Colombia before producing an emphatic 5-0 win over Uzbekistan. Coach Roberto Martinez has urged his team to approach the knockout round as a second World Cup, emphasizing that performances must improve. Croatia also finished as the runners-up in Group L after an opening defeat to England. They responded with victories over Panama and the Black Stars of Ghana, showing the resilience that has made them regular contenders in recent World Cups. Now, these are some key players to watch. For Portugal, obviously, first on the list would be Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro. He's been absolutely remarkable, first game, no goal. He scored a brace in his second. And of course, we saw how the third game went about. Now, he goes into the round of 32 looking to make it count. So he's a player to watch. Cristiano Ronaldo is his name. Bruno Fernandes is another player to watch. Of course, his creativity will be really vital for this Portuguese side. Vitinha is another player to watch. Pie-sized man, but guess what? He brings a lot to the table. Vitinha. I love watching him play. Of course, the Paris Saint-Germain midfielder has been absolutely remarkable so far at the tournament. And Ruben Dias is another player to watch for the Portuguese side. Now, for Croatia, Luka Modric would be key. He's an absolutely named player. He joins things, brings one sentence to an end, and even starts another. Such a real bundle of energy. Josko Vradiol is another player to watch. Mateo Kovacic is another player to watch. And of course, Dominik Livakovic would be absolutely key and is a player to watch tonight for the Croatian side. This is what could decide the game. Portugal are expected to dominate possession through their technical gifted midfield. Croatia would look to control the tempo with Luka Modric and Kovacic while remaining dangerous on counter-attack. Set pieces and individual moments of quality could prove decisive in what many expect to be a tightly contested match. So, this is it. Portugal have the deeper squad and slightly greater attacking firepower, but Croatia's experience in knockout football makes this a very even contest. A narrow Portugal win after extra time or a penalty shootout would not be surprising, though Croatia are fully capable of causing an upset. For what it's worth, beyond the star power of Cristiano Ronaldo and Luka Modric, this match could come down to a few tactical battles. And one of the tactical battles would be midfield control. That's if Croatian coach, talking about Zlatko Dalic, has said that, the key battle isn't Ronaldo versus Modric, it's the midfield. Croatia will rely on Modric, Mateo Kovacic, and of course supporting midfielders to slow Portugal's rhythm, while Portugal's trio of Bruno Fernandes, Vitinha and João Neves will try to dictate possession and create numerous chances. Second point is Portugal's attacking edge. Now, the Portuguese side arguably have more firepower. Cristiano Ronaldo remains a major goal threat inside the penalty area. Bruno Fernandes provides creativity and late runs into the box. Bernardo Silva and Rafael Leao can stretch Croatia's defense with pace and dribbling. If Portugal move the ball quickly, they can force Croatia's aging midfield to defend for long periods. The top point would be Croatia's experience. You know, the Croatian side have built a reputation as one of football's toughest knockout teams. They rarely panic under pressure and have repeatedly taken big matches to extra time or penalties in recent times. That's especially in the World Cup. That experience could become invaluable if the match remains level after 90 minutes. Now, this is the likely tactics going into the game tonight. I tell you, just so you know, for Portugal, they'll most likely deploy a traditional 4-3-3 formation. Alright? Most likely a traditional 4-3-3 formation. And they're expected to dominate possession, attack through Fernandes and the wings, deliver crosses and through balls to Ronaldo. For Croatia, they're expected to go with a 4-3-3 formation or a 4-2-3-1 formation. Stay compact defensively, control the tempo with Luka Modric, break quickly through wide players and exploit spaces behind Portugal's fullbacks. Of course, you know the players to watch already. Cristiano Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, Vitinha, João Neves and Ruben Dias. Croatia, Luka Modric, Mateo Kovacic, Josko Varadiol, Dominik Livakovic. So it's a difficult match to call. Portugal have got greater squad depth and more attacking options, but Croatia have consistently shown resilience in knockout football. A realistic prediction is Portugal 2, Croatia 1. Yeah, a 2-1 win for the Portuguese side after extra time. Alternatively, don't be too surprised if it finishes 1-1 after 90 minutes and it's decided by penalties, given Croatia's history of thriving in tense knockout matches. That's it. So who comes up tops tonight? Portugal or Croatia? Would it be W Portugal in the chart at the end of it all? Would it be an L for Croatia? Or the other way round? A W in the chart. Yeah, a possible W in the chart for the Croatian side and an L for the Portuguese side tonight. Would Cristiano Ronaldo come to the party? Will he be on target in tonight's encounter? That's another question that needs answers. What's it like? Luka Modric, will his creativity and experience come to party tonight? We wait to see what happens at the end of it all. Now, Switzerland will be in action. They got North African side Algeria to worry about. Of course, they go into that encounter in the early hours of Friday. That's 4 a.m. precisely, Nigerian time. Same time in the UK, 4 a.m. All right. So Switzerland entered this knockout tie with split favoritism after winning Group B with composure. They won that group with composed, disciplined performances. Murat Yakin's side has looked balanced throughout the tournament, combining a solid defensive structure. Of course, they've been absolutely top. Yeah, they've got some leaders such as that man talking about Granit Xhaka. So Granit Xhaka's experience is expected to count in tonight's encounter. Algeria reached the knockout stage after a dramatic group campaign and now face a fascinating storyline. Of course, the head coach of the side will be looking to come up with a really good tactical plan and go into this one on the right foot. But then again, it's just about coming up with a really good tactical plan, and they are expected to bring in their A game, go into the game, create as many big situations as possible and take the chances seriously. That's exactly what they need to do if they must make it count, if they must pull through to the last 16 of the tournament. So, of course, it sure would be a tight affair. Now, these are some key battles to look forward to tonight, so long as the game is concerned. Granit Xhaka versus Algeria's midfield. Now, Switzerland's captain, Granit Xhaka, will try to dictate possession and control the tempo of the game. Bril Mbolo, Bril Mbolo versus Aisamandi and Algeria's backline is another key talking point. Mbolo's movement and physicality could create problems for opposition. Riyad Mahrez versus Switzerland's fullbacks is another talking point. Algeria's best chance may come through Riyad Mahrez's creativity and one-on-one ability. He's got the experience and quality, undoubtedly one of the best players in his position at the World Cup. Now, the tactical outlook is that Switzerland will likely dominate possession, stay compact defensively, and patiently create chances. Algeria, going into the game, would most likely try to defend deeper, rely on quick transitions, and use Mahrez and, of course, Mohamed Amoura, if available, to exploit space and create as many big situations and cause problems for the Swiss defense. Of course, now, without sentiments, most analysts give Switzerland the edge because of their organization, tournament form, and defensive consistency. Now, Opta's pre-match model estimates roughly a 50% chance of a Swiss win in regulation time. That's 90 minutes. While Algeria remain a dangerous, underdog capable of forcing extra time if they frustrate the Swiss side early enough. You know what? This is a predicted starting X1 for Switzerland. Now they are expected to go with a 4-2-3-1 formation with goalkeeper Gregor Kobel in between the sticks for the side. The defenders are Sylvain Wildman. So he's expected to come to the party. Manuel Akonji is another player to watch. He's expected to be at the back for the side, not forgetting Nico Elvedi and Rico Rodriguez. In midfield will be Remo Friola, Granit Xhaka, the captain of the side, expected to lead by example. They are in their attacking midfield position. Expect to see Dan Ndoye, Yohan Manzambi, Ruben Vargas, and in that striking position, the fox in the box would be Bril Mbolo. And that's it for Switzerland. For Algeria, hopefully they'll deploy a 4-2-3-1 formation with goalkeeper Anthony Mandrea in between the stakes. Now for the defense, expect to see, Youssef Attal at the back, Aissa Mandi, Rami Bensebaini, and of course, Yohan Hajim. In midfield would be Ismail Banessa for Algeria. Hisham Bouado is also expected to be in the conversation. In the attacking midfield position would be Riyad Mahrez, the captain of the side, Ibrahim Maza, Mohamed Amoura, and of course the striker would most likely be that man talking about Amine Gouiri, who has been absolutely top so far at the tournament. Now, this is some team news, just so you know. For Switzerland, no major injury concerns are expected. Murat Yakin is likely to stick with the core starting 11 that topped Group B, with the informed Yohan Manzambi ending another start after an impressive group stage. So, for Algeria, Vladimir Petkovic has a largely healthy squad available for this contest going into the early hours of Friday morning, Nigerian time, 4 a.m. precisely. His biggest tactical decision is whether to use Amoura's pace centrally or from the left. But Mahrez and Banessa are expected to be automatic starters going into that very encounter. So for Switzerland, they are quite comfortable in possession and patient when building attacks. And that's really key. Granit Xhaka and Friola control midfield while Akonji organizes the defense. I tell you, it sure would be an interesting one for what it's worth. Mbolo provides a physical focal point. I mean, he happens to be that focal point for the side with Vegas and Ndoye attacking the channels. So they need to play as a unit if they must come up tops tonight. Algeria are quite dangerous on quick counter-attacks. Mahrez drives inside to create chances, while Amoura stretches defenses with his speed. He's that good, really fast on the ball. Benassa is crucial in breaking up plays and launching transitions. So the Swiss side will need to be really wary of, that player, Benassa. Now, there are some key matchups to look forward to tonight. 3 key matchups. First is Granit Xhaka versus Ismail Benassa. Now, whoever controls central midfield could dictate the tempo of the game. Bril Mbolo versus Issa Mande is another key matchup. Mbolo's strength against Mande's positioning will be pivotal in tonight's encounter. Riyad Mahrez versus Ricardo Rodriguez is another key matchup. So Algeria's best route to goal may come through Mahrez's creativity on the right. So the Swiss side will need to be really wary of that man, Riyad Mahrez, former Manchester City player. This is it. So long as this game is concerned, it looks likely to be one of the tightest round of 32 matches. Switzerland are more structured defensively and generally make fewer mistakes. We've seen that so far at the tournament, while Algeria have the individual quality to punish any lapse. So, possible win is, a possible win estimatedly, is that Switzerland are expected to go into this one on the right foot, and win probability is that Switzerland would have about 50 to 55% ball possession, and a possible draw, so long as the game is concerned, that in 90 minutes is 25 to about 30%. For Algeria, I mean, they are expected to have about 20 to 25% ball possession. So my possible score is Switzerland 2, Algeria 1. That's it. Possible scoreline for the game tonight. Switzerland 2, Algeria 1. First goal scorer would most likely be Bril Mbolo. Yeah, the Swiss man has been absolutely remarkable. He's a fox in the box. He brings a lot to the table. Player to watch is Yohan Manzambi. He's been absolutely outstanding at the tournament so far. Best underdog threat is Riyad Mahrez. Some would say, oh, very much in his 30s and all of that. He's an elderly man, but hey, he's got the experience and quality. He's still got the energy in him to do the impossible. So, I mean, he's the best underdog threat going into the game tonight. Now, just so you know, at least 10 countries have confirmed a place in the last 16 of the ongoing Mundial in USA, Mexico, and Canada. USA, the Three Lions of England, the Red Devils of Belgium became the latest teams to book their spots. Folarin Balogun scored and then saw red as the Americans beat Bosnia and Herzegovina by 2-0. The Three Lions needed a hurricane double to win by 2-1 against DR Congo. Of course, it was an interesting encounter. DR Congo took a shock lead in that very encounter, but ended up losing at the end of it all. Rudy Garcia's men also produced a remarkable comeback to beat Senegal 3-2 after the Lions of Teranga took a 2-goal lead. Of course, England will now play Mexico, while Belgium face host nation USA. The other countries in the round of 16 are France, the Seleção of Brazil, Norway, Morocco, Paraguay, Canada, and of course Mexico. Interesting times. The World Cup is getting even more intense. The stakes are absolutely high. A lot is at stake at this material time. What's it like going into, the games coming up tonight? Which of the teams will falter tonight? Well, only time will tell. Interestingly, we can't go any further. This is when we get to put a pin right here on the show today. But then I'll leave you with every goal at the last 16 stage of the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Remember, IWC market know the fair price. And when hunger knack person, shame go come out. Stay woke and get talented. I remain Danny Mino, the voice you trust and that mayor you probably need. They call me Rex Patrick the Locker. Bye for now.
And now, time to talk sports matters on SEM TV. Stay with us.
Sensational, absolutely sensational, sensational. And Stadium is blocked. The All Blacks press forward with a driving run. White 5 for 3, it's good. A huge shot. The puck drops in this gold medal game.